elect people who understand business, who understand economics, and who understand what is right for the state. And the best way to do that, in my opinion, is term limits for legislators. If legislators were limited to, let's say, 8 years in office, they would be coming to Springfield and have a limited period of time and would be doing and voting the way that they believe is best for the state of Illinois and for our country. Today, most legislators and many legislators vote not what is best for our state, but what they think will help get them reelected.
It's a career decision.
It's also because their pensions are why they go down to Springfield. There is, as you've noticed, I'll put words in your mouth because maybe you wouldn't want to say them, but a lot of those people down there in Springfield couldn't hold a job anywhere else, and they're getting paid a good salary for a part-time job, supposed to be part-time, and they're going to get big pensions when they come out. If they didn't have pensions for legislators, they wouldn't be hanging around so long.
I would support legislation ending all pensions for legislators.
Well, I know Representative Tom Morrison didn't take a pension. Right. I bet you did.
Several people didn't, and I think it would be the right thing to literally end pensions for
public sector.
It's supposed to be,
pensions,
yes, it's supposed to be a part-time job, as Jack said.
It was supposed to be public service. It's
right.
supposed to be serving the community.
Right. And the salaries are pretty good, by the way. I don't even remember exactly what it is, but it's something like $70,000 a year, which is pretty good for part-time work.
Yes. Oh, yes. With benefits?
Right.
And what do those benefits equal?
And the medical plan, by the way, is a Cadillac plan. I mean, it's a extremely lucrative and beneficial.
It's not subjected to Obamacare, I'm hearing?
It's much better than anything you get with Obamacare, I can guarantee you.
Well, I'd like to ask you a state of the state question. You know, when we were looking at Romney potentially winning the presidency, and we knew at that time that enterprise corporations were sitting on trillions of dollars just because of the massive regulations that Obama's and his czars have put into the private sector. So we were really looking at this big springing of the economy if Romney had won. However, I started to realize Romney's policies wouldn't affect what's going on in Chicago. So I'm asking, as a state senator, even if we were to take over the legislature in Springfield and the governorship, how much difference could we make in revitalizing Chicago again, in knocking down some of those things that caused all those businesses like Jack to flee years ago? Well, you were in Chicago, you were in Cook County.
Cook County.
Well, look, I believe that if Mitt Romney had won, I believe that he would have been the best president we've had since Ronald Reagan. And I believe it would have changed the whole direction of our country. And I think it would have affected Illinois, and it would have affected Chicago, because you'd have a whole different attitude that people would have. As far as Illinois goes today, it's going to be very, very difficult for Republicans to capture a majority in either the House or the Senate for the foreseeable future. And I expect next year, 2014, to be a very good year for Republicans. But it's you know, if we pick up 2 or 3 Senate seats and pick up 5 or 6 or 8 House seats, it would have been a very good year. But the key is we've got to elect a Republican governor, because the governor has a large amount of power. He can stop some of the bad bills that are going on. Let me just tell you a quick story, too, that just came to my mind. One of the things that happened when I was there, I remember very clearly, sitting on the Labor and Commerce Committee, hearing a senator who had proposed a bill which in my opinion was a negative for business. It wasn't a huge thing, but it was just, you know, one more regulatory requirement, one more burden that was more of a negative than a positive. And I said to him, if I will vote to help get this out of committee for you, will you promise me that going forward, for every 3 anti-business bills that you sponsor, you will sponsor just one that will be favorable to business? Answer? No.
Why don't they want business? That is revenue and resource to help facilitate the tax base.
It goes back to what I said at the beginning. They don't understand economics. They don't understand business. They believe that business is this golden goose out there who's laying all these golden eggs, and they want to gather as many of those eggs as they can. I have actually described many of my colleagues in Springfield as being well-intentioned, well-meaning individuals who believe it is their job there to help allocate the infinite resources of Illinois to the projects they deem most worthwhile. Did you get that key word there? Infinite resources of the state of Illinois.
Right.
Resources aren't infinite.